Well, thank you for joining me for day 3. First, my apologies that I've had a little delay getting these videos done. We're super busy this year. We're traveling back to Wisconsin for the holidays, so just ramping up, heading up to Wisconsin, and had a few guide trips here leading up to some of the days that we're going to be traveling. So my apologies that there's a delay, and again, thank you for joining me for day 3. So for day 3, I'm going to focus on kind of, two tools that I use for, fishing, my boat, staying organized. The first one is I love these Rapid Velcro straps. These are, they come in different lengths. I think this is a 12-inch strap. But they come in a variety pack that I'm going to list for day 3 here. And these come in really handy for wrapping your rods or, managing cables, things like that. As you can see here, I have a couple rods. I use the Velcro wrap to keep my rods together. When you have these rod sleeves that I showcased on day 1. A lot of guys traveling down the lake, if you don't have these wrapped, the wind can actually work these off slowly, and these do not float. They sink in the water. So another way to secure your rods. This is just one way that I use these Velcro straps, but they come in really handy for a lot of different uses. So the second part of day 3 kind of goes into rigging your boat or making your boat look a little more presentable, neatening up your cabling or wiring, such as your trolling motor, maybe your graphs, things like that. Instead of having just a bunch of cables looking like spaghetti, I like to use this. It's very similar to the material the rod socks are made out of. So where this particular product would come in handy is if you already have your graphs rigged, you don't have access to the end of your cables to run a sleeve or a cable protector on it. This cable protector is actually split, so you can actually add this to existing cables to beautify your boat or make your boat look a little more put together or streamlined. Just to give you a little bit of an example, right here you can see where I covered some of my cables coming up into my graphs. You can see I got a couple smaller ones right up in here. Right there, I just have them wrapped with a zip tie up in there. But instead of having cables, out in the UV in the sun, it protects them a little bit from, rubbing on these, the mounts. A little bit of UV protection, but it just makes your boat look a little more presentable. So the cable protector comes in several different sizes. I would say the size I use the most is probably an inch or 1.25 inches. The larger cable that I showed you is actually a 2-inch. So some of your larger cables, or maybe a bundle of cables, you might want to use a little larger size. But I put a link for the 1-inch size. This is actually the one I showed you is the 1-inch size. So that'll work for most of your single cables. Thank you for joining me for day 3. We'll see you on day 4.